August meeting of the St. Tammany Board of Adjustment. It's 2 p.m. It's the August meeting. I will call the meeting to order. Could we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Ballantyne from Mandeville.
Present.
Mrs. Thomas from Mandeville. Mr. Daly from Covington.
Here.
Mr. Blosh from Mandeville.
Here.
Mr. Spees from Lacombe.
Here.
Mr. Swindell from Covington.
Here.
And Mr. Sanders from Slidell.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Please silence your phones, and since I'm the usual guilty culprit, want anybody to witness, I am silencing my phone. That's done. Silence your phones, and any other electronic devices, anything you got, turn it off, please. Any appeals to the decisions of this body, please have to be referred to the 22nd District Court. Speaker cards are available. They're on this table over here, but have no fear. We've got 3 cases this afternoon. We got a small body. I'll make sure everybody gets a chance to speak. So, but there are speaker cards if you would like to officially go on the record. Public speaking, we got 10 minutes for anybody to, when they want to discuss their case. And we've got 10 minutes for any opposition. And after that, we'll have 5 minutes of rebuttal from those in favor and those against. And I would like to recognize Ms. Christy Thomas, who is, it's not late, but she is here, and she will be one of our voting members. And so we've got 5 voting members, and we have 2 alternates with us today. To my left over here, Mr. D'Artagnan Saunders and Brian Swindell. Okay, so that was a speaking. And then after your case has been reviewed and a decision has been made, please leave. Please exit quietly so we can get on with the next case and dispose of that as efficiently and quickly as possible. Okay, how about everybody had a chance to review the minutes of the July meeting? And I had the only comment I had was with corrections. I made a note that under the approval of the meetings for the June meeting, we did have several corrections. So, but that was the only thing. Anybody else have anything on the minutes? Seeing none, how about?
I move to accept the minutes.
We got a motion from Ms. Thomas to approve the minutes. Do I have a second? Got a second from Mr. Dewey Spees. All in favor, vote with your screen. How are we looking?
All in favor.
Wonderful. Okay. We go on to our first case this afternoon is BOA case 2022-2965 BOA. This is a request by an applicant in an A4 single-family residential district to reduce the required north side setback from 24 feet to 18 feet, the required south side setback from 24 feet to 18 feet, the required rear yard and east side setback from 39 feet down to 8 feet, to allow the construction of a single-family residence. The property is located at 980 Marina Boulevard, Mandeville, Louisiana. The applicant is Lewis and Shalon Kahn. They're represented today by Mr. Paul Marone. Staff comments, please.
The objective of the request is to allow for the construction of a single-family residence having a side yard setback or side yards setback of 18 feet and a rear yard setback of 8 feet. While the residence meets the minimum side yard and rear yard setback requirements, it does not meet the setbacks since the residence exceed 20 feet above the base flood elevation, necessitating larger setbacks to be provided as stipulated on your staff report. Note that the residence is actually proposed to be located 31 feet from the rear property line. However, the deck, staircase, and water feature extend within the required rear yard setback or within 8 feet from the rear property line.
Okay. Yes, sir. State your name and address and proceed with your case.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board, Paul Marone, P.O. Box 1810, Covington, Louisiana 70434. I'm appearing this afternoon on behalf of the petitioners, Mr. and Mr. Khan. Mr. Khan is with us this afternoon as well. The property that is subject of the request, as Ms. Lambert just noted, is in Marina Beauchene. And it is a uniquely located property, and I think the uniqueness of the location is important in your analysis of our request this afternoon. The property, as you can see from the aerial that is in your packet, actually fronts on, and when I say the front, it would be the rear, it'd be the portion of the lot that is not along the river, but it fronts on what is a large marsh area, wetlands area that is not susceptible to development. The rear of the lot is the Tchefuncte River itself, so we have no neighbors to the rear because we're directly on the river. On the south side, the parcel abuts the inlet that would take you from the main river channel into Marina Beauchene, so it's water on that side for boats to come in and out. And then the only adjoining neighbor that we have is on the north side. So it's a relatively isolated parcel along the river in that regard. And I think that's important as I explain kind of why we're making the request this evening and the factors that are converging to give rise to our request. First, with regards to our neighbor to the north, we have submitted letters of no objection to Ms. Lambert. I believe they should be in your package. But he has been contacted. We've talked to him at length. He is aware of the uniqueness of this site. He has the property next door. He's building on that. His home is actually going to be over 80 feet, closer to 90 feet from the property line. So you'll have significant separation, even if these variances are granted, between my client's home and the only other home that could be located anywhere in the vicinity. So they are quite comfortable with our request and are supportive of it. As I said, there are several factors that kind of give rise to the hardship we have. As Ms. Lambert noted, as I want to point out, if this was a typical A4 zone parcel in a typical location, we meet all the setback requirements. We wouldn't have to be here this afternoon hearing this case. However, this is not a typical A4 parcel because of its proximity to the river and what I mentioned around it. Under the Unified Development Code, when you go up, your setbacks get larger. So it shrinks the site, right? And it is that provision of the Unified Development Code that is giving rise to the request for relief in the variance. Because as we go up, those typical setbacks are growing. We can meet the typical setbacks, but we can't meet the new setbacks based on our height. So the convergence of the factors that give rise to the request, one, the lot and its proximity to the river, the uniqueness of the configuration of the lot. If you look in your package, it's not a square. It's got some unusual boundaries to it, which is a little bit of a challenge. And then the provision of the Unified Development Code that says when you go up, the setbacks go in. At the end of the day, I would submit to you that the provision under the Unified Development Code that increases your setbacks as you go up would be meant to protect your neighbors. It stands to reason. As you go up, they want you further away from the property line so you're not looking over into somebody's backyard or their side yard. We don't have that situation here. That doesn't exist because of the uniqueness of this site. So I would respectfully submit that provision doesn't really have direct applicability to what we're doing. We don't have those neighbors. The one neighbor we do have is supportive. So with all of that being said, we would respectfully suggest that if the variances are granted, then there would be no negative impact on anybody in the vicinity. It would facilitate a better product and home on this site, and it would be beneficial to the area in general. The only thing that I would say in conclusion is that with regards to the rear setback line, and I just want to make sure that it's clear, because Ms. Lambert noted, I can understand if you're looking at it and you say, well, my gosh, Paul, 31 feet to 8 feet. That seems like a big jump, and rightfully so. Remember, though, that our structure, our home, is 31 feet from the property line, that rear property line. So we don't have the home 8 feet from the property line. It's 31 feet, so it's very close to the setback that would be required. What's inside of that is our stairwells and our deck. And so because of how high we're having to go, you can imagine we have a bit of a runway for our stairs to come down, so we're not going straight up. But that's why we're encroaching so far into the back. It's not the building itself, it's really the stairs and that deck. Also, please keep in mind that that rear setback line, or that rear property line rather, is the Tchefuncte River. So we don't have a neighbor there that's creating a problem, that we would be creating a problem for. Also, my client is raising the house. Obviously, the house is on piers because of its proximity on the river. And his forethought and major investment in this home is that he wants to make sure it's well above the base flood elevation. So he's not stopping right at the base flood elevation. He's getting up a little bit beyond that to give himself some freeboard, which I think probably makes sense. Better safe than sorry in that location, and with some of the rain events and some of the flooding events that we've had. So that's, again, exacerbating some of the setback issues that we have this afternoon. With all that being said, I appreciate your consideration. I'll be happy to answer any questions that any of the board members may have, and we thank you for your time.
I have some questions, Mr. Morone.
Yes, sir.
And there's no opposition.
Excuse me. I invite anybody that's opposed to this to come forward and state your opposition. Seeing none, I will recognize Mr. Swindell.
Yeah, I don't have a question for you, but I want to make an observation here, and I'd be surprised if this wasn't in front of the board at some point, because along a river, we're all having to elevate above, certain base, however many feet above base flood elevation. I actually live on the water, just upriver from there. Whatever we decide here is going to come up again. It's going to come up again a lot. So I think we just need to make sure we're being cognizant of what we decide to do here, and just remember that we're consistent with this going forward, because there's a few more lots right next to this one that we're probably going to be in front of us, and I live in a neighborhood that's going to be elevating homes, and this same question is going to come up a lot just in elevating. So
And that leads right into my question. You've got the letters in the package are from the Homeowners Association of Marina Beauchene. What about Beauchene? Do they have to, are you part of that?
That's a good question. And the short answer is no. This is an island that is inside of Beauchene subdivision, but it is not part of what you and I would consider Beauchene proper.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Second question.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to address Mr. Khan. You don't have to. And I know as soon as I did this, I shouldn't have done it, but I talked to a neighbor that lives 3 doors down to a home you built right on the harbor. Is that right? Are you a contractor? You're a construction?
No, he's a lawyer from the South Shore.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought he built it. Anyway, I talked to a homeowner that's like 3 doors down. And I said, how many homes are going to, he said, well, there's 3 more in addition to the one that they're driving the pilings on. And I said, where are they going to put them? So apparently that's not true. There's only 1 more.
So there's this lot, and then there are two more lots to the north.
Okay,
That,
that's three then.
yeah. This would help you if you had that. That shows our lot and the two lots to the north.
The Planning Commission approved the minor subdivision to allow for the creation of those lots.
Okay. My point remains the same. We're going to get three houses in there. But anyway, my observation is that the problem is a house is too big for the lot. I mean, you could say, you go up and the thing comes in, but that was my impression.
So I guess I would just say the size house fits if we lower the elevation down, which is where we're coming into, as we go up, that's where we're running into our issues.
Okay, and you're putting there's a pool. There's a pool going in?
That's the plan, assuming economically it works.
So there'll be three homes behind that construction fence. Yours and two more.
Along about 500 feet of riverfront, that's correct. So I believe
Yeah.
I have 115 feet of riverfront, and then the two other homes have, I mean, Jeff, you would actually know, but maybe about 400 feet of riverfront. It's a very, very long parcel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, almost 400 feet of frontage for both of the other parcels. One's 0.83 acres and the other's just over a half acre.
Will they make a road in there, or is it going to remain?
Yes, yes. So there will be a drive that will extend down that peninsula, if you will, to provide access to those two other parcels.
How far is your front door from the road, street?
How far is the front door from the street? Well, I don't know what that distance would be.
Well, it's pretty much,
Let's see.
the house itself is going to be,
I was looking to see if I had any dimensions on anything that would
I
help
mean,
us.
the house itself is going to be more than 25 feet from the front property line.
That neighborhood, his front door would be the farthest from the road.
If you can come speak at the microphone, please. So we can
Please,
get it recorded.
please come forward and state your name.
Be next door, and we heard this was going on. My name's Garrett Griggs. I, with Jared Rickey, developed that property. I'm actually the other homeowner that he's referring to. I live to the left. My front door is probably 15 feet from the road, where he's probably in the 50 to 60 feet, without having the plan in front of me. His front door will be farthest from the road. Easily. You're talking about a front door, right?
I'm talking about the front door.
From the
door-
road that's currently there, which is where it's supposed to be, that's where the road's supposed to stay, where his front door is, will easily be 50, 60 feet from that road.
Okay. And you're putting the pile, in his home, you're driving the pilings are driven.
That's for my personal home. Yes, sir.
Oh, that's your house. It's
Yes, sir.
not his.
He's not my contractor. McMath is my contractor.
I'm sorry. That's, it finally dawned on me, the house I'm looking at ain't the house we're talking about. I'm sorry.
So it's three houses. We divided the property into three sections. It's more than enough property for these three homes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So it's your house where the pilings
That's
are.
correct.
All right.
And that's not just pilings for the house, that's pilings for a pool, and there's some other stuff going on there too.
That's what I understood.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm good.
Thanks, thank you.
Any other questions from anyone?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Blaze?
Okay.
Well-
I just wanted to say that Mr. Marone did a really good job of explaining the situation with regards to the ordinances that prevail in that area and what they do to try to protect the people that surround these properties. And as you look at the layout and the area, as you look and see, there are no people that need to be protected in these instances, with the exception of Mr. Griggs, who has submitted a letter stating that he has no problem or issue with this. So quite frankly, I don't see that there's an issue at all that is going to be presented for anyone that in the area, or my personal opinion, this is a no-brainer. This is not a big deal.
Any other questions, comments for anyone? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion. Anyone got a motion?
Mr. Chairman, in BOA case 2022-2965, I submit that we should accept the request as submitted.
We have a motion from Mr. Blash to approve the variances as requested. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I got a second from Ms. Thomas and Mr. Sean Daly. Any other discussion? Any other, nothing? Seeing none, vote with your screen.
All in favor, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Our next case for this afternoon is BOA case 2022-2970 BOA, a request by applicant in an A3 suburban district to increase the max allowable length of an accessory building from 50 feet to 70 feet. The property is located at 30271 North Dixie Ranch Road in Lacombe, Louisiana. The applicant and representative is Allison Zinsky. Staff comments, please.
The objective of the request is to allow for the construction of a 2,100 square foot or 30 by 70 foot long accessory building. Although no hardship has been demonstrated, staff is not opposed to the request, considering that the proposed accessory building will be located on an 8.9 acre parcel of land. It will not exceed the 7.5%, maximum allowable of 7.5% of the area of the lot on which the main building is situated.
Is Ms. Zinsky here?
I'm Mr. Zinsky. I'm her husband. And I have a letter here that she signed for me to represent her.
Would you bring that letter over here and give it
Yes,
to
sir.
Ms. Helen? And you're Mr. Zinsky.
Yes, sir.
Do you have anything to add about this request?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Nothing to add except perhaps it's pretty far set back from North Dixie Ranch Road. So as far as an eyesore concern, I don't think there is any. And the thought behind the 30 by 70 foot dimension was to eliminate any center supports within the structure to allow motion of vehicles, tractors, et cetera, ease of access inside of the building. So that's why the excess of the 50 feet in one dimension.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Why don't you just stand right there? Do we have any opposition to Mr. Zinsky's request for his variance? Any questions for Mr. Zinsky? I have a question for you. Tell me who lives in that house directly behind you and the little house to the right.
The house directly behind us is my parents, Mr. and Mrs. John and Kathy Zinsky. And the house to the right is my mother-in-law, Mrs. Amanda Wheaton.
And your wife's aunt.
My wife's aunt is currently staying with her mother, yes.
Her sister.
Yes. The sisters are staying in the small house, and my parents stay in the house behind.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? I'll entertain a motion, please.
Certainly, because of the size of the property, the extra 20 feet is no big deal. So I'm going to go ahead and make a motion that we approve.
I have a motion to approve the request for variance from Mr. Spies. Do I see a second?
I'll second.
Got a second from Mr. Sean Daly. Any other comment or discussion on this case? Please vote with your screen.
All in favor, motion carries.
Congratulations.
Thank you all very much. Have a good afternoon.
The next case for today is a BOA case 2022-2971, a BOA request by applicant in A3 Suburban Zoning District for a waiver of the required pond setbacks. The property is located at 12444 and 12448 Stanga Road, Covington, Louisiana. The applicants are Albert and Tina Keaton and Tommy Gidros. Staff comments, please.
The objective of the request is for a waiver of the required setback from the property line to allow for the construction of a 2,400 square foot pond crossing the common property line between parcels B1 and B2 as it's shown on the attached drawing. There's no objection to the request since the proposed pond will provide adequate drainage for both parcels of land in a centralized location. If the board is in favor of the request, it should be subject to providing a maintenance agreement and meeting all other standards for the pond.
Who wants to represent? And please come forward, state your name and address, please, and your relationship to this request.
Hey, Tommy Gidros, address 12444 Stanga Road. I'm homeowner of the back property. And yeah, the pond, we want to be able to keep it all in one spot. If we had to do the, 25 feet on each side, it'd have two different ones. And then also with the location that we're picking on the property, by putting it and by crossing the lines, it saves us from having to take out some other bigger, beautiful trees, stuff like that. So if you have any other questions about it, happy to answer.
Thank you, Mr. Goodger. Do we have any opposition to this case? Any opposition, please come forward. Seeing none, how about questions or comments from the board? Mr. Blige.
I have no issue with this. However, from past experiences, I think that if we do accept this, that we should insist that those maintenance agreements come in advance of the pond being dug and approved. Just my own comment about this.
Me too. I think that's an excellent point. My question, if I could kind of add on to that, who is going to be responsible for developing and where is this maintenance agreement going to come from?
Well, we have a template that we can give you and that y'all can sign, or you can come up with your own and we can review it. So we'll be happy to help you with the template if you'd like to.
Good. But I think his point's a good one. This is the second time when we kind of approve something subject to a maintenance agreement. Maybe we could do that ahead of time.
Yeah, we can provide it to them and then they can submit it with the pond permit.
Good.
Okay. Do we need to make that in the form of a motion as well? Mm-hmm.
Okay. This pond goes in between, are you Miss Tina? Yes. The lady down there lives she and her husband live in the house, the other house, closer to Stanga Road, and the pond is in between, and it's really I never know whether to call it a detention or a retention or whatever it is. Whatever it is, it's a pond to hold water, because they had quite a storm there, and they needed a place for the water to go.
Yeah, there's lots of water there.
Please take forward and state your name.
Tina Keaton, 12448 Stanga Road is where our house is being built, in the front part.
Do you have anything to add about this in addition to what your
there's lots
son-in-law?
of water where we want to build a pond. It'll be the only safe thing we see to do.
Got two beautiful houses and a beautiful property going in there. It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. Keaton? Did I say that right? Keaton. I did. Okay. Seeing none, somebody like to make a motion?
Hey, Mr. Blaish, the pond maintenance agreement and the permits are part of the staff comments. If you just want to make a motion to approve subject to the staff comments, I think that would cover your concern.
Okay. Well, then I'll hereby move that we accept the variance request, subject to the staff comments, which would require the permit process to include the approval of the pond.
Maintenance agreement.
Maintenance agreement. There we go.
Very good. I've got a nod back there from everyone, and we have a motion to approve the request for variance on the ponds and subject to the maintenance agreement. Do I hear a second? Got a second from Ms. Thomas. Any other discussion? Please vote with your screen.
All in favor? Motion carries.
Thank y'all. Okay, that concludes our cases for this afternoon. If we could, I got an old business. I got three things. Number one, I would like, without bringing it up formally or anything like that, I would like to bring up the issue of getting paid. Whether the board members of the BOA would get paid. And we, historically, I bring this up only to get a nod or get some direction or feeling from the board before I march off here into wherever I may end up at 3 o'clock in the morning trying to approve something like this. So anyway, historically, this board has been remunerated, and the reason it came up is I spent a half a gallon of gas going to 8 cases of July. 3 cases doesn't take me as long, but I used a whole half tank of gas going around. So anyway, so I thought maybe you ought to get paid.
Interviewing those neighbors.
Yes, interviewing the neighbors. Yeah, don't.
Looking at the wrong houses.
I tell you what, don't ever listen to the neighbors, and don't ever listen to the people that are driving the pilings, because they will tell you a bunch of stuff. Most of it ain't true. Anyway, that's right. All right. So
I wouldn't have no issue getting paid. I just don't want to go into the next tax bracket.
You're safe. Okay. So we got. I just want a little guidance from the. Got Miss Thomas shaking her head. I got a shake here. You're opposed, Mr. Daly?
No, I don't care.
You don't care.
Me either.
You don't care. D'Artagnan, how you feel about it?
I'll just tell you, I'll just tell you that my own experience with Mandeville is, for 14 years, we did get, it was a little small stipend to cover costs and expenses once a month. It was
That's the only reason I bring it up.
Yeah.
Well, I bring it up for another reason. It's a matter of respect. We're the only board in St. Tammany Parish doesn't get paid. Yeah. Didn't know that, did you?
No, I didn't.
That's us.
And I didn't know the deepest river either.
Mermentau River, Jennings, Louisiana. When you get to be 78, you learn a lot of stuff.
So here you're referring to a stipend, a certain amount per meeting, or you're referring
No.
to reimbursement of gas?
No,
per month?
I'm talking about a regular retainer of $150 a month per board member, which comes to $1,050 per month or $12,600 a year.
And I would just point out that the planning commissioners get $50 per meeting, and the zoning commissioners, who happen to be the same board, get $50 per meeting. The planning commission per diem is set by state statute, and $50 for the zoning commissioners is set by the council. So anything would have to be, has to go through the planning department and then be approved by the council.
And because they're getting $50 doesn't mean we have to settle for it.
No.
If we want to ask for $150, we can ask for $150.
Yeah, I just want to give you all an idea of what the other board members are making.
Brian got my drift. All right, so, yes, sir.
I'm stating, planning zoning board is $50, right?
Right.
That's what y'all said, okay. We would probably have no problem getting $50 and have our president get $100 since he works a lot harder than we do. So that would be my suggestion, but y'all, and if you don't want to do it, hey, I'm fine. I'll stay on, but I'm just thinking that would be, I think it would pass. Right now, the council's got they have so much problems with money right now, that, you know, they allow to be cutting everybody back.
So I got a nod from Mr. Dewey Spees with the addition, maybe we want to come back on. So I think what I'm getting, Ms. Thomas, are you, if I stumble off into,
I think $50 per meeting. I do voting machines and work votes and all that, and we get paid $50, for that. But with the financial situation with the parish, I would concur that $50 is probably a good amount, 100 for you, maybe 50 for we minions.
as only Miss Thomas could put it. Okay, I have the directional nod that I was looking for. We would like to go from there. So who I'm looking to my right and left at who takes this ball from here.
So do they need a resolution?
What's that? Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't think they need a resolution at this point if the idea is just to begin discussions with the department and with Ross Liner to see if he has money available in his enterprise fund, because I don't think it would be available, any funds would be available from any other fund. So if the idea is just to start those conversations with Ross to see if funds would be available, then I don't think you'll need a resolution to do that. I think once you have those conversations and you want to move forward to the council, I think it'd be appropriate at that time, once you have something formal, to have a resolution in place to request that the council
Okay.
add her be in charge of the board.
Set up an audience, please set up an audience with Ross for me. Thank you. All right, got one more, I got another. I'm still on old business. The yellow signs that I always look for when I'm looking for one of our cases, all the signs were not only down, but they were upside down, lying on the ground. And the problem is, those wooden sticks, you couldn't get those wooden sticks in the ground with dynamite. So whatever it takes, the people that put those signs up got to take a little shovel with them and put them in there.
But after you visited the site, feel free to email me and we'll go repost
Okay.
the signs when you see that happen.
Well, I stood them up,
Oh, thank you.
did the best I could. All right.
Well, that's the property owners go there now.
All right, I got one more. I hate to bring this up. I know I'm going to eat this at some point. 2 months in a row. 2 months in a row. No cases after the fact. Hold on.
You will have one next month.
None. We're going to have one next month? Okay, I've done any other old business? Seeing none, how about new business? What do we got next month?
If I'm not mistaken, 4 cases, including one that's after the fact. 4 cases for next month, and including one is
After the fact. 25%.
I have a question. How do we know if an appeal has been filed on one of our judgments? I mean, I'm just curious, like, occasionally I'm curious about some of these I think may actually appeal.
I mean, I can tell you that I think we've had 3 BOA appeals in the past year, which is by far more than we've had in the past decade. Yeah. One that was appealed was the Castle short-term rental.
Yeah.
That, and that one I think is set for trial this fall. One that was appealed was the Henshaws, I think 309 Mountain View Court, where they had an after-the-fact driveway that abutted the property line, and that one is also set for trial, I believe, next month. And then the third was an after-the-fact carport that was added to a commercial property in Slidell.
Oh, yeah.
And that one's had some procedural issues, so it has not yet properly been served upon the parish.
So how do we, I don't know, I don't even know how to get the information. Like, how do we get the information about when they're going to court, when that's going to be presented?
I mean, I could let you know if that's something that y'all would want to know.
I was gonna say,
I would just like to know, I mean,
why do you want to know?
I love the proceedings of all this, and I'm curious about, I mean, some of the ones I've only been on the board for 5 or 6 months now, and some of them are, you know, kind of pseudo-controversial, you know, and I'm just curious about what the follow-up is. And I'm more curious about the judge or judges that are ruling on the information that we've provided, and just curious about where that goes.
I mean, I can definitely let you know court dates beyond that, since y'all are not technically parish employees. I wouldn't want to get too much into the detail.
No,
or
for
the legal
sure.
rationale of the case, you know, to keep the attorney-client confidentiality of those proceedings. But as far as what cases have been filed and what the court dates are, I'd be happy to let you know.
And the physical court location is?
They're all on the 22nd. There's a courthouse in Covington.
That's, okay.
Any other new business?
Ms. Fulvio,
Yes.
when the judge rules on that, it goes right into effect. In other words, it don't come back to us in district court.
I guess there's a possibility that the trial court or the district court, who's sitting as an appellate court, could remand a case to the BOA. And in fact, one of the last BOA appeals that the parish had, and I don't remember what case it was actually remanded to the BOA for further proceedings.
Oh, okay. That's all. Thank you.
No other new business? How about a motion to adjourn? Got a motion and a second? Adjourn? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.